Welcome back to Rugby Obsession. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying these deep dives into the rugby world. We've got a really interesting one today, the Handre Pollard puzzle. His contract with Leicester Tigers ends at the end of the season, and the rumors are already swirling about where he might end up.
It's incredible, really, the sheer number of clubs that are reportedly interested. So Rugby suggests as many as 10 clubs are in the running. That speaks volumes about his reputation and talent.
10 clubs. That's insane. And we're hearing some of them are prepared to pay over our $10 million to get him. That's a serious amount of money. What makes him such a sought-after player?
Well, you're looking at a two-time World Cup winner, a player who thrives under pressure and leads by example. He's a game changer.
Absolutely. And there's even talk that he might return to South Africa. Rapport suggests that some of those interested clubs are right here on home soil. Imagine the impact a Pollard homecoming would have.
Oh, it would definitely shake things up. Just think of the possibilities: the Bulls, the Sharks, the Stormers, the Lions. Each team would benefit from his experience and skills, but in different ways, of course. It's fascinating to think about how he might change the dynamics of each team.
Let's dive into that a bit, shall we? Let's say he joins the Bulls. They've got a powerful pack, but their backline hasn't been as consistent. Could Pollard be the missing piece they need to reach their full potential?
He could be the spark that ignites their attack. Imagine him orchestrating their backline, using his tactical awareness to create opportunities for their runners, and his kicking game to keep them on the front foot. He could transform them from a good team into a genuine title contender.
I like the sound of that. Don't forget, folks, if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button to Rugby Obsession for more. Now let's move on to the Sharks. They've got some serious firepower out wide, but sometimes their attack can feel a bit disjointed.
That's a great point. With Pollard at the helm, they could become an absolutely terrifying attacking force. He could bring structure and control to their game, while also giving their dangerous backs the platform to shine. His ability to identify space and exploit weaknesses in the defense would be a nightmare for any team they face.
I'm already getting excited just thinking about it. But it's not just about South Africa, right? There's also strong interest from Japan. And those clubs have the financial muscle to make some very attractive offers. What are your thoughts on that?
Japan's an interesting proposition. They've been investing heavily in rugby, improving their infrastructure and attracting big-name players. For Pollard, it could be a chance to experience a new culture and style of rugby, while also securing a very comfortable financial future.
True, but would he be willing to step away from the spotlight of South African and European rugby? It's a big decision with pros and cons on both sides.
It really all boils down to what matters most to Pollard right now at this stage in his career. Does he prioritize financial security? Or is he still hungry for the challenge and prestige of playing in South Africa or Europe?
Yeah, that's a good point. This whole situation really highlights how the rugby landscape is changing. It used to be that top South African players almost automatically headed to Europe at some point.
Yeah, it was almost like a rite of passage. Prove yourself in South Africa, then test yourself against the best in Europe. But things are different now. The emergence of the URC, the United Rugby Championship, with South African teams competing against top clubs from Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Italy, it's a game changer.
It is. It's a whole new ballgame. So instead of having to move to Europe to play against the best, South African players can now do it right here at home.
Exactly. And on top of that, you have the increasing financial power of Japanese clubs. They're willing to pay top dollar to attract global talent. So suddenly players like Pollard have more options than ever before.
It's incredible to see how this is reshaping the rugby world. It's like a global tug of war for talent, with different leagues and clubs all vying for the top players.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the money either. It's about the style of play, the lifestyle,
Yeah.
the opportunities for personal and professional growth.
Wait, let's zoom back in on Japan for a second. We talked about the financial incentives, but what about the rugby itself? How does the Japanese league stack up against the URC or the English Premiership?
Well, the quality of rugby in Japan has been improving rapidly. They've got a fast-paced attacking style of play, which is really exciting to watch, and they've been attracting some big-name international players, which has raised the overall standard of competition.
Yeah, but is it as physically demanding as playing in the URC? Week in, week out against some of the toughest teams in Europe?
That's a valid point. The physicality and intensity of European rugby are definitely at a different level. It's a war of attrition. You need to be incredibly resilient to survive and thrive in those competitions. For a player like Pollard, Known for his physical presence and his ability to dictate the tempo of a game, that might be a factor in his decision.
And of course, there's the Springboks factor. If you're playing in South Africa or Europe, you're constantly under the watchful eye of the national selectors.
Right. It's a lot harder to make a case for Springbok selection if you're playing in Japan, even if you're performing well. That has to weigh on a player's mind, especially someone like Pollard, who's been such a key figure for the Springboks.
So it's a complex equation, isn't it? Financial security, playing style, level of competition, Springbok aspirations. Pollard has a lot to consider. This is what we love about rugby, right? These big decisions that keep us on the edge of our seats. Before we get into what those decisions could mean for the rugby world, if you are enjoying this breakdown, make sure you've hit subscribe to Rugby Obsession for more episodes like this. What do you think are Pollard's priorities at this point in his career?
It's hard to say for sure. He's achieved so much already, won 2 World Cups, played at the highest level. Maybe he's looking for a new challenge, a different lifestyle, a chance to secure his financial future. Or maybe he still has that burning desire to compete for trophies and wear the green and gold jersey.
Yeah, who knows? Whatever his motivations are, his decision will have ripple effects throughout the rugby world. It's not just about him, it's about the clubs, the competitions, even the national teams that could be impacted by his choice. It's like a butterfly effect, you know? One decision could set off a chain reaction across the entire rugby landscape.
Exactly. Let's say he chooses to come back to South Africa. That instantly elevates whichever team he joins. It could turn them into title contenders overnight, pushing the other South African teams to step up their game. The whole URC competition would feel the impact.
And what about the Springboks? Having him back playing in a competitive environment, it could be a massive boost for them heading into the next World Cup cycle.
Oh, without a doubt. Not just his on-field contributions, which are immense, of course, but also his experience and leadership. He's a calming presence in the biggest moments, the kind of player who can inspire his teammates to reach new heights.
But then imagine if he goes to Japan. That sends a signal that the financial rewards and lifestyle in Japan are a serious draw, even for a player at the peak of his powers, a World Cup winner.
Yeah, it could open the floodgates. More top players might start considering Japan as a genuine option, changing the balance of power in the rugby world. Suddenly, the established European clubs would face even stiffer competition for top talent.
So his decision is about so much more than just Handre Pollard. It's a reflection of the evolving nature of professional rugby, the global competition for talent, and the changing priorities of players. What do you think? Where do you think Pollard should go and why? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts.
It's a fascinating dilemma, and it's a reminder that in rugby, the game is always changing, always evolving. That's what keeps it so compelling.
Absolutely. And that's what we love to explore here on Rugby Obsession. So if you're as hooked on this story as we are, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest developments.
Pollard's next move will be a captivating chapter in his already illustrious career.
We can't wait to see what he decides and how it all unfolds. Thanks for joining us for this Rugby Obsession deep dive into the future of Handre Pollard. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the rugby world.